What's going on YouTube? I hope you're having a great day so far. This video is dedicated to future firefighters, future police officers, current even, and just wanted to share it with you guys. You don't have to be a firefighter or a police officer to benefit from this, but this was an idea I just thought of a minute ago, and I wish I would have thought of this whenever I used to be a firefighter. For those of you that don't know, right out of high school, I went through the fire academy, went and got my EMT basic license, and I was a firefighter for about 2 years, but it was a really great part of my life, and I probably would have taken some different steps if I would have known what I know now. So stay tuned. If you're interested in being a firefighter and you want to be able to retire very, very early, I'm going to show you a really cool trick, and I think you're going to like it. And just so you know, guys, I'm going to be setting up this example as if it was my past self whenever I was 17 years old and I decided that I wanted to be a firefighter. This trick also works for people that are older, people that have been in the service for a little while. You don't have to be 17 to do this, but the example that I'm going to be using is going to be assuming that you're 17 or 18 years old, you're getting ready to go to the fire academy and get your EMT license, and you're getting ready to get started. But like I said, this works for other people too. It's just the math that I'm going to be using is going to be assuming that somebody doesn't really have a whole lot of bills, that they have a nice inexpensive car that's paid for, like $3,000-$4,000 car. They don't have a car payment, and they're going to be living with their parents for the next 5 or 6 years or so. So stay tuned, guys. I think you're going to really like it. And like I said, if I would have done this, I would be a millionaire right now. And I'm only 25 years old, so stay tuned, guys. I'm going to show you right now. Like I told you, I was a firefighter whenever I was younger. Right out of high school, I went through the fire academy. I was 18 years old. After that, I went to the EMT school, got my EMT basic license. I was volunteering as a fire department or a firefighter at the same time as I was doing all this. And then I got hired full-time at a local fire department where I was making about 11 bucks an hour. And 11 bucks an hour, that's the reason why I ended up getting out of the fire department. I just, at the time I didn't really realize what type of an opportunity I had in front of me, and when I look back on it, sometimes I feel like I regret my decision, but at the same time, there was a lot of things that I had done between then and now, and if I wouldn't have made that decision to leave the fire department, I never would have met my wife, I never would have had my son, and things would be a lot different now than they would be. But at the same time, if I would have been utilizing what I'm telling you guys right now, I may be worth close to $1 million at the age of 25 years old as a firefighter, which, I would say that's a pretty good accomplishment for somebody if they can, get a job as a firefighter, and then by the time they're in their mid-20s, be worth close to $1 million. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I have a really great idea I'm getting ready to share with you guys. And it would work in this this scenario of only making 11 bucks an hour, believe it or not. But what I can tell you is it's going to require a lot of discipline and a lot of sacrificing of things. To kind of give you like a little hint as to what I'm going to be doing here is we're going to be taking almost all of the money that you're making and we're going to be investing it into what's called an S&P 500. So that's going to be option one. Option two is going to be what we call a dividend growth investing strategy, which I'll explain the difference between the two if you're not real familiar here in a second. But basically what's going to have to happen is you're going to have to work extra hard. You're going to have to take it very, very seriously, and you're going to make it your goal to just be the best firefighter EMT that you've ever seen. Just take it very seriously. Anytime you get an opportunity to get an additional certification, you get it. Anytime there's an opportunity to advance and maybe become an engine operator, and then you go from engine operator to lieutenant or captain or however your chain of command works, you're going to want to be doing it every single opportunity that you get. And what's going to have to happen is we're going to assume that you are a very young person, just like I was whenever I got out of the fire academy, and your bills are going to be very, very low. We're going to plan on staying at mom and dad's house as long as we can. You're going to ask mom and dad, hey, can I stay at your house for a little bit longer, maybe 5 years? And if they say yes, you're going to do a little bit of a dance, and then you're going to just, get straight to business and make this happen. So I'm looking down because I've got some notes here. My mental math isn't very good. But let's just say you were exactly like me. You're making 11 bucks an hour, and you were gonna just try to climb your way up the chain of command. You're gonna be making 11 bucks an hour. If you work 24 hours That's $264 a day. The department that I worked for, they paid let me make sure my camera is still on before I sit here and talk for 19 minutes. So they did what's called a 48-96. So you're on for 48 hours, 2 days, and then you're off for 96 hours, which is 4 days. So it averages out to about 2.5 days per week or something like that. But anyways, what I didn't know at the time is that you got paid for time and a half if you worked anything more than your 48 hours a week. So if you worked an extra day, you'd be making $16.50 an hour, which I didn't know. So you take your $16.50, you multiply that times 24, and now you're at $396. So you're making $396 in one day, which is pretty decent. Lost my train of thought there for a second. So normally you'd be working about 10 days per month. So that's $2,640 per month you'd be working, and that's only working 10 days. Now, if you worked an extra day every single week, you would bump yourself up to $42.24. That's per month. So $42.24 per month, which isn't that bad considering that you're only 19 years old. You're going to be working your tail off because you're going to be working an extra shift every single week, which, if you ask me, there was a lot of guys that I worked with that they worked 2, 3, sometimes these people were working 7 days a week, it seemed like. And those dudes were making some serious dough. But let's just pretend that you're only working one extra day per week. So now you're at $42.24 per month. Okay. So what your goal is going to be is, like I said, you're going to be working your tail off. You're going to be any type of certification that comes across that you can get, you can get certified for. You're going to take the classes. You're going to take any opportunity for advancing, to become an engine operator. You're basically going to be putting everything into this to just be the best firefighter that you can possibly be. And you're just going to continue doing it. You're going to take it very seriously. Hopefully you'll work your way up the ranks. So let's just say that in a year, you were freaking awesome. You did great, and you tested to become an engine operator. Okay, so now you test to become an engine operator. You get it. You're an engine operator now. You take all your certifications. You get your I think it's a class B license to get your engine operator. You guys can correct me in the comments below, but you get your class B license, and now you're an engine operator. You're making, let's just say, $16 an hour. So you're making $16 an hour. So now your pay gets bumped up to on your overtime, I think, what's that, $24 an hour. So now you're making $24 an hour, okay, on your overtime. So give me a second. Let me do the math on this real quick. I had to do a little bit of math there. So as an engine operator, you'd be making about $38.40 per month. That's assuming that you're working just your normal $48.96, about 10 days a month, and you're making your $16 an hour. So that's $38.40 per month. Now, you add on your overtime, which would be an extra day a week. Now you're looking at $61.44 per month. So this is what I didn't realize whenever I was, a young little whippersnapper. But I didn't even think of the fact that you're getting paid time and a half, like I said before. And if I would have realized that, and I would have applied it, I'd be making some serious money, doing, only having to work 3 days a week, which would be really, really cool. So like I said, $61.44 per month. And as you're getting these pay increases, you're continuously investing all this money into the stock market. And like I told you before, you could pay yourself, say you pay yourself 10%. So every single month, I think I did the math, and your take-home pay would be somewhere around $46.08 if you're getting taxed at 25%. So you'd be looking at $46.08 per month take home. So you'd have $460 each month to just spend on whatever. So that's $460 divided by, so a little bit over $400 a week, or I'm sorry, $100 a week to go out with your friends, go to the movies, do whatever you want to do. So you're not completely a slave to your investing here, because you have a little bit of money left over. Gotta turn this AC down. It's getting kind of hot, or this heat. But what was I going to say? Oh, I remember. Okay, so let's just assume that you you wanted to get your paramedic right after you got your EMT, which would be a great idea. And at least in the state of Texas where I'm from, you could pretty easily get a job that pays about $25 an hour if you have your paramedic and you have your firefighter 1. So let's just say, you know, right after you get your EMT, you get your paramedic, and then you don't get a job until you're 20 instead of 19. So you're 20 years old, you've got your firefighter, and you've got your paramedic. You land a job that pays $25 an hour. So let me do the math on that real quick, because it jumps up substantially. We're going to be well into the six figures. I you know, just by doing a little bit of quick math in my head, we're going to be well into the six figures on this one. But let me do the math real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, guys. So I'm back. So this is what we're looking at here. Assuming that you work 10 days a month, you'd be making about $6,000 per month. That's only working your normal. So you're working the 48.96 like I was talking about. That's only working your 10 days a month, $6,000. Now, if you work an extra day every single week, that's going to bring in an extra $3,600. And this is gross, guys. I'm going to take the taxes off of this in a second, so that way we can have the exact numbers. So now you're looking at $9,600 per month. $9,600 a month is $115,200 per year that you're going to be making, and you're going to be 20 years old. Which, I mean, that's a lot of money, you know, $115,000 a year. So you take that and you continue to do exactly like I said. You know, let's do our math on our taxes real quick. Taxes are going to be a lot higher. In some places they may be lower, but just assuming that we're at 25% on your taxes, your take-home pay is going to be $7,200 per month. Oh, man. So I'm filming this at the time of the coronavirus, and I just had a dry cough, which is like one of the signs. So if you guys don't see me for the next couple of weeks, it's probably because I'm in quarantine. But anyways, so like I was saying, $7,200 per month. So we take our 10% off of that. That's $720. That leaves us with, like, I don't know, I'll put the number right here. So you invest that into your stocks month after month after month, year after year. And I think it's probably good enough. I've given you enough information in the video to go ahead and do the math on the interest calculator. So I'm going to show you guys that here next. I'm going to have the interest calculator popped up, and then I'm going to be doing a dividend growth investing versus a S&P 500. So the cool thing about the dividend growth investing strategy is most of the stocks that do the best are going to be stocks that pay dividends. They tend to fall not as hard during recessions. Like, you know, right now we've got some crazy stuff going on, and if you notice, a lot of the blue chip stocks that are dividend paying, they don't fall quite as hard during recessions. And another good thing too is, let's just say on average you're getting about 5%, like I had mentioned earlier. You're still going to be getting about that 5% unless they drop the dividends, which doesn't happen very often. It is possible, but you're going to be getting 5% whether the stock market is up or down. You know, so if you have a portfolio of, we'll just say $1 million, and before you just think I'm crazy for throwing out, you know, $1 million into this, you'll see in a second what I mean. But let's just say you have $1 million portfolio and you're getting about 5% dividends. That's $50,000 per year that you're getting, basically just mailbox money. Checks are coming in the mail and you're not having to do anything for it. Like I said, $1 million isn't too far-fetched whenever I show you here in a second. But that's whether the stock market is going up or down. You're going to be getting that, you know, 5% every single year. So let's go back into this real quick. I'm going to pull up the calculator real quick and then show you the two. And then you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised whenever I show you this. All right, guys, so we're going to go to Moneychimp. Here we go. Moneychimp.com. And see, I was already kind of playing around with this a little while ago, but let's just get all this stuff out of here real quick. Yeah, if you guys ever wonder what I do in my spare time, it's literally just like, if I'm not hanging out with Sabrina and Dawson, I'm always messing around with these little calculators. But Anyways, okay. So let's just say that we were the guy that went ahead and got his paramedic. So we got our paramedic, and we said that our take-home pay would be, I think it was like $7,000 or something a month, right? Yes, about $7,200 a month. Okay. So we take our $7,200, and just so you guys know what I mean, whenever I said you're paying yourself 10%, we take 10%, which we can multiply times 0.1. That gives you 720. Okay, follow me so far. And then 70. So we take 720 off of our 7,200, which leaves us with 6,480 left over per month. Okay, 6,480. So that's going to be our current principal, which we're just going to pretend like we're starting investing right whenever we get our job as a firefighter paramedic. Okay, 6,400. Now we take our 6,480, and then we multiply that times 12, which is 77,760. Okay, and that's what we're going to be investing into this every single year. Follow me so far? So 6,480, and then we multiply that times 12. That gives us our annual income that we're going to be investing into the stock market. And then we're going to take this and multiply it. We're going to say that we're going to just do this for 5 years for the first calculation here. And then, like I said, we're going to be conservative and just say 7%. Okay. So look, at the end of 5 years, you're going to have $487,568. Now just remember, guys, contact your CPA, get professional advice on this. I'm just a guy on YouTube. Don't listen to me. I'm stupid. But you have to remember, this 7% average is an average over a 20% period. So it's not going to be 7% every single year. You know, some years it might be 15%, you know, some years it might be 20%, some years it might lose money. This is all just an average over 20 years. So this number may be a little bit different. But if you give it 20 years, most likely it's going to be about 7%. So we're going to do, and that's on the low end. So we're going to do 20 years and just pretend that we're going to be a hardworking, you know, firefighter, paramedic for 20 years. And this is if you don't get any pay raises at all. Okay, so we take this and we do our multiplication, and that's, so if you got 7% every year, you'd be at $3.4 million by the end of your 20 years. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, firefighters get a pension, which is true. You get a pension, you could do there's tons of different options that you can do. I'm not saying that this is the best. I'm just saying that this is a great option, you know, and you may consider, you know, looking into this and seeing which option works best for you. But for me, this makes pretty good sense because you're going to have $3.4 million, okay? Now, let's just say that instead of doing the S&P 500, you got dividend paying stocks. So you did dividend growth investing. So every year that you got your stocks or your dividend checks in the mail, you just reinvested those back into your portfolio. Okay. And you got to somewhere around the same as far as your 20-year period goes. Now, your 5% that you're making is going to be off of this $3.4 million. So at the end of the 20 years, and we're just going to use round numbers here. Whoops. So there's your 3.4 million that you'll have by the time you're 40 years old, guys. You take this and then you multiply it times 0.05, which is going to be your average dividend. You're going to be getting $170,000 per year by the time you're 40 years old, and you're not going to have to lift a finger. It's just going to continue to pay. And it's going to go up and down just a little bit, guys, but $170,000 roughly per year. And you could also, if you wanted to, you could sell off your portfolio at some point if you wanted to, or a portion of it or whatever. I would say just leave it the way it is. I would personally rather have $170K coming in, you know, for the rest of my life than, you know, than to sell that. You know, and if you wanted to, you could even say you wanted to only take. I love those compound interest calculators. They just, I don't know what it is, but it always gets me excited to just see what your money can do whenever it grows, you know, year after year. It's just really amazing. But that same person, I mean, if you want to do the math on your own, just like I said, go to moneychimp.com, or you could go to Google and just type in compound interest calculator Moneychimp, and then you click it, and then you just do the same little calculation that I did. But it's amazing whenever you take that and you multiply it. Say you did the same thing except over 30 years. It starts to get crazy. You know, you start making more money from what your passive income is bringing in than what your actual active income is bringing in. So your active income is going to be like, you know, your money from your job, and your passive income is going to be the money that's coming in from the dividends that you're not having to work for. But it gets to the point where you're making more money from your dividends than you are from your actual active income. But anyways, really, really crazy strategy, guys. Of the two, I would definitely recommend that you get your paramedics, because if you do, as you can see, you're making quite a lot more money from the beginning, you know, and then you can just work your way up from there. You can become an engine operator, become a captain, lieutenant, you know, all the way up to a fire chief. You know, you can become a fire marshal. You can do all these different things. One other thing too, guys, if you end up doing this, you know, whether you're a firefighter or in any kind of field, you want to do this whole long-term investing thing, is one of the most important things to remember is to never, ever sell. Just hold. If you're diversified, you know, and you're getting, say you're in an S&P 500, or say you've got, you know, multiple dividend growth investing stocks, just completely hold on to it. Do not sell, because the stock market is going to go up, it's going to go down. You know, right now we've got a bunch of craziness going on, you know, and tons of people are selling their stocks. Everybody's saying, sell your stocks, it's crashing. And, you know, the thing is, you know, they're going to be selling their stocks. They're going to be waiting on the sidelines. They're going to say that they're going to buy whenever the market's at the bottom, you know, and they're going to go in and buy again, and then it's going to drop even more, and then they're going to sell, and it's going to drop even more, you know, and then they're going to wait. And then the market's going to shoot up, and they're not even going to realize it. And then before they know it, you know, they're out 20% just because, you know, they were trying to time the market, you know, and they may get lucky and they may catch it at the right time, or they may not too, and they're missing out on that opportunity. But I can tell you, you know, just statistically, the market is going to come back. You know, it's doing some crazy stuff right now, but just always hold and just know that you're in it for the long term. You know, you're not trying to make all your money in 5 years. You're wanting to make it, you know, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you know, and just hold forever. But anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. You know, it wasn't a big secret or anything. A lot of people know that. You guys may have already known before you watched the video, but I can tell you that I definitely didn't know whenever I was getting ready to become a firefighter. You know, like I said, otherwise I would have probably done things a little bit differently. But if you are getting ready to be a firefighter, we appreciate you. We appreciate your service. I think you're really going to love it. You know, it's a great field to get into. It's very, very enjoyable, rewarding, you know, and it's just, it's cool. I mean, it really is just cool. It's a fun job to have. I'm happy for you guys. And yeah, if you want to see my last video, I'll put a little piece right here that you can click on, see the last video. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one.